President Trump has reportedly signed a directive ordering the Pentagon to use military force against drug cartels in Latin America. Fox News correspondent William Lajeunesse has more from Los Angeles.
All things. Investigators say the drugs were found in separate trucks, one in Hall County and the other one right here in Atlanta. 2 convicted felons are now facing.
A drug dealer will kill 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people during the course of his.
A single drug trafficker, over the span of a lifetime, can be responsible for the deaths of 2,000, 3,000, sometimes even 5,000 people. That number doesn't include the families destroyed, the children left without parents, or the communities permanently scarred. Every bag sold, every pill moved, every shipment delivered adds another name to a growing list of casualties. And most of the time, the people behind it never pull the trigger themselves. They simply set the machinery in motion and let the poison do the rest. At 4:12 a.m. in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that machinery was finally about to be exposed. The city was frozen in silence. Streets were empty. Porch lights glowed faintly against the snow. From the outside, it looked like any other winter night, but inside a heavily secured federal operations center, hundreds of screens illuminated a far different reality. A massive digital map covered an entire wall, pulsing with red markers. Each dot represented a location under watch. Each line showed money movement, communication traffic, or confirmed criminal activity. For months, federal agencies had been tracking a rapidly growing criminal network tied to a Somali-based operation. At first, the cases seemed unrelated. A fentanyl overdose in one city, a violent robbery in another, welfare fraud reports piling up, human trafficking complaints, weapons turning up at routine traffic stops. But when analysts overlaid the data, a disturbing pattern emerged. Everything was connected. Hospitals reported overdose cases up more than 300% in certain districts. Violent assaults had surged nearly 280%. Prostitution and trafficking complaints were approaching double their previous levels. Prosecutors warned that, on average, someone in the United States was dying from a drug overdose every 5 minutes. That meant almost 300 lives lost every single day. One senior agent compared it to a passenger jet crashing daily with no survivors. Even more shocking was the financial trail. Investigators had already confirmed more than $1 billion in stolen public assistance funds. Whistleblowers inside government agencies believe the true figure, stretching back over a decade, could be closer to $8 billion. The scheme was brutally efficient. Individuals entered the country using fraudulent or manipulated documents. They applied for public benefits under false identities. Those funds were then transferred through a web of shell companies and money service businesses. From there, the money moved overseas, ultimately landing in the hands of Al-Shabaab, a terrorist organization aligned with Al-Qaeda. This was not simple welfare fraud. It was a funding pipeline for terrorism. And it didn't stop with money flowing out. Drugs and weapons flowed back in.
Methamphetamine and fentanyl were manufactured in Chinese labs, shipped to Mexico, and smuggled across the southern border. From there, Somali-linked criminal cells distributed the narcotics throughout major U.S. cities. Profits were laundered. More money went overseas. More shipments came back. A closed-loop system of destruction. 2 months before the operation, a police cruiser had been ambushed during a routine patrol. Gunfire exploded from a dark alley. The officer inside was critically wounded. The suspects fled, but shell casings and phone data eventually led investigators back to the same network. Again and again, every trail pointed toward a single name, Rami Farah, age 48. Officially, he was a Somali diplomat assigned to the United States. Unofficially, intelligence suggested something far more dangerous. If the evidence was correct, a foreign diplomat, someone granted access, protections, and trust, was helping oversee one of the largest criminal enterprises ever uncovered on American soil. Surveillance on Farah's associated offices revealed unusual activity. This was not the kind of place where cultural events were hosted or diplomatic meetings took place. It functioned like a logistics hub. Unmarked trucks arrived in the early morning hours. Heavy packages were carried inside. None of it appeared in official shipping logs. Over a 6-month period, agents documented more than 140 undocumented deliveries. Dumpster searches provided the first physical clues. Shredded immigration forms, destroyed SIM cards, receipts from money transfer businesses, burned packaging materials. Then came the discovery that pushed the case into emergency status. Hidden behind a locked cabinet panel, investigators found dozens of fake passports and government IDs. Many were tied to people already arrested for violent crimes. Others belonged to individuals still at large. One woman, using a false identity, had collected nearly $50,000 in welfare benefits while working at an illegal nightclub linked to sex trafficking. Police departments across the state reported a constant stream of violence connected to the same circle: street brawls, stabbings, armed confrontations, and intimidation campaigns. In one small city alone, officers responded to 87 violent incidents tied to the network within 9 months. This was no longer a criminal gang. It was an organized infiltration, financed, protected, and partially shielded by diplomatic cover. The order to move was issued at 4:05 a.m. 4 words echoed across encrypted channels: all units execute. More than 900 federal agents from the FBI, Homeland Security, ICE, state police, and local departments mobilized simultaneously. No sirens, no flashing lights, just dark convoys rolling through empty streets.
The first target was a modest-looking house on a quiet block. Thermal cameras showed multiple heat signatures inside. As agents approached, a man bolted from the rear door holding a rifle. A flashbang detonated. The blast disoriented him long enough for teams to tackle and restrain him. Inside the house, agents found stacks of cash, burner phones wrapped in aluminum foil, and piles of documents covering a kitchen table. Across town, another team hit a warehouse disguised as an import business. Behind a false wall was a hidden storage room containing more than 580 pounds of meth, fentanyl pills, and heroin. Estimated street value $22 million. On a nearby highway exit, a delivery truck attempted to ram through a roadblock. Agents disabled the engine with gunfire. When the doors were opened, duffel bags filled with rifles, pistols, and ammunition spilled out. Serial numbers had been deliberately removed. In an industrial yard, 2 armed suspects opened fire from a rooftop. Bullets sparked off metal barriers. Agents advanced behind ballistic shields. A helicopter spotlight pinned the shooters in place. After a tense standoff, both men surrendered. Meanwhile, a tactical team moved on the Embassy-linked office. A breach charge blew the doors inward. Inside, agents found computers, ledgers, encrypted phones, and bags of shredded paperwork. One suspect attempted to burn documents in a trash bin before being tackled. By 5:20 a.m., the initial phase of the operation was complete. 41 locations raided, 87 suspects detained, millions in cash seized, hundreds of pounds of narcotics recovered, more than 100 illegal firearms confiscated, no civilians injured. But investigators knew something worse remained: a 2-story brick building near a government district, officially listed as a Somali Commercial Coordination Office. A Somali flag hung outside. An embassy seal was mounted near the entrance. To passers-by, it looked harmless. To federal analysts, it was the heart of the network. Unlike a full embassy, this office did not enjoy absolute diplomatic immunity. After weeks of legal preparation, authorization was granted. Shortly before midnight, unmarked vehicles surrounded the block. Agents took positions behind cars and concrete barriers. A drone hovered silently above. Inside the command post, one final message appeared: authorized entry. What waited inside that building would reveal just how deeply the system had been compromised and how close America had come to a catastrophe hiding in plain sight.
At 10:19 a.m., the signal was given. Breach teams moved into position without hesitation. 2 agents slipped toward the rear service entrance carrying a compact explosive charge. A blinding flash followed by a sharp blast tore the heavy door from its frame. The echo rolled through the hallway and disappeared. Within seconds, armored shields filled the corridor. Rifles were raised, boots thundered forward. Inside, a man in a tailored suit jumped from behind a desk and sprinted toward a stairwell, gripping a laptop against his chest. He made it only halfway before agents tackled him to the ground. The computer was still powered on, warm to the touch. Down the hall, smoke poured from a metal trash bin. Paper crackled, plastic bubbled and melted. 2 men stood near the fire, one holding a lighter, the other clutching a stack of folders. Agents stormed the room, forced both men down, and smothered the flames with a fire blanket. Many pages were burned, but large sections remained readable. At first glance, the space looked like a standard office: desks, printers, filing cabinets. But nothing inside suggested diplomacy. There were no flags, no cultural displays, no policy papers. Instead, investigators found binders filled with identity records, folders labeled with U.S. city names, spreadsheets tracking cash movement, and envelopes stuffed with money sorted by date. Behind a hidden wall panel, agents discovered a narrow room containing 7 servers stacked on metal shelves. Each was connected to a satellite router showing active transmissions. Technicians quickly cut the connections and secured the drives. Later forensic analysis revealed that much of the data traffic had been routed through Somalia, Turkey, Kenya, and Gulf countries before landing in private accounts controlled by the same network. One cabinet contained dozens of blue folders lined up like books. Inside each folder were long lists of names, thousands of them. Beside every name were phone numbers, addresses, and benefit account details. Some entries were checked, others were crossed out. 3 repeated labels appeared on page after page: arrived, processing, sent. On a desk near the window sat a thick handwritten ledger. The pages were filled with numbers, percentages, and monthly totals. At the bottom of the final page, written clearly, were 5 words: 10% for security, Al-Shabaab. The room went silent. This was no ordinary fraud ring. Agents had uncovered a financial engine designed to move people into the country, drain public assistance programs, and send millions of dollars overseas to a terrorist organization. Outside, traffic flowed, pedestrians passed. The city looked normal. Inside, every document told a different story. With the embassy-linked office secured, analysts finally had something they had never possessed before: a master blueprint. The seized material did not merely list individuals, it mapped infrastructure: businesses, warehouses, shell companies, transport routes. The first discovery involved dozens of companies operating under the same corporate identity. On paper, they were logistics and import-export firms. In reality, many were empty storefronts, dusty windows, dark interiors, no customers. Yet their bank accounts showed millions of dollars moving through them each year. At one abandoned industrial site, agents found 6 large safes bolted into the concrete floor. Inside were bundles of cash totaling nearly $1.9 million.
Each stack was sorted by week. Records showed the money came from disability payments, housing assistance, childcare benefits, and food programs. Another location appeared to be a used furniture warehouse. Vans arrived daily, unloading couches, chairs, and mattresses. But the furniture was camouflaged. Hidden inside chair frames were vacuum-sealed packets of fentanyl powder. Ammunition was concealed inside sofa cushions and table legs. Every delivery blended seamlessly into the rhythm of the neighborhood. 2 additional facilities claimed to manufacture nutritional supplements. They had conveyor belts, packing stations, and shipping labels. But a closer inspection revealed industrial pill presses capable of producing 100,000 tablets every 10 hours. Laboratory tests confirmed the pills contained fentanyl and methamphetamine. They were packaged with counterfeit medical labels and fake barcodes, disguised as vitamins and painkillers. Digital evidence painted an even darker picture. Encrypted files from the office revealed thousands of financial transfers broken into small amounts to avoid detection. Public benefits were deposited into shell company accounts. Shell company funds were transferred internationally. From there, money moved overseas. 10% of major transfers went directly to Al-Shabaab. In just 5 years, analysts traced more than $280 million through this system. The true total was likely much higher. The ledger also linked individuals to violent crimes: 14 armed robberies, 9 shootings, 5 kidnappings, 3 murder investigations. Violence was not random, it was deliberate. Intimidation kept people silent. Drugs fueled profits. Fraud paid operating costs. Terrorism received its share. As raids continued across multiple cities, one conclusion became unavoidable. This was not a loose collection of criminals. It was a coordinated enterprise with leadership, structure, and logistics. Every arrow on the command center map pointed back to the same source. At the center stood Rami Farah, not merely a facilitator, not merely a middleman, but an organizer of the system. He was not just helping people enter the country illegally, he was running a financial machine embedded inside American social services. From just 6 months of recovered records, investigators documented $61 million in fraudulent benefit payments, $22 million moved through shell companies, $14 million hidden inside charity accounts, $9 million transferred through encrypted apps.
These figures represented only what could be proven. Large portions of earlier data had been deleted or never recorded. When analysts projected backward, estimated losses to taxpayers exceeded $8 billion over 10 years. The human cost was even worse. Hospitals reported waves of overdoses from tainted pills. Police departments saw violence spread into suburbs that had once been quiet. Small business owners closed early. Parents stopped letting children walk alone. In one town, emergency services were dispatched to the same block 15 times in a single month for drug deals, assaults, and trafficking. 2 months earlier, a patrol officer pulling into a gas station had been ambushed. Bullets shattered the windshield. The officer survived, but suffered permanent injuries. With new evidence, investigators now believe the attackers were tied to the same network. By late afternoon, the case had reached the highest levels of government. A classified briefing took place inside the White House Situation Room. The conclusion was blunt. This was not immigration fraud. This was national security infiltration. Officials explained how American benefit systems had been turned into a funding source for a foreign terrorist organization. Every stolen dollar strengthened an enemy. A decision was made. Resources would surge. Arrests would continue nationwide. Foreign operatives would face removal. Similar patterns in other states would be investigated immediately. That evening, many Americans saw only short headlines. They did not see the ledgers, the servers, the burned papers, the maps filled with names. They did not realize how close the threat had been. When morning came, Minneapolis looked ordinary again. Snow covered sidewalks, cars moved through intersections, children went to school. But inside the Federal Command Center, walls were lined with evidence.